Yo, man, welcome back. Another episode, first smoke of the day. This is the Emerald Cup special edition. We got another special guest in the building. It's your host, Pat Gods, co-host Black Leaf in the building. What up? You already know. We got a super special guest here in the building, man. Real Bay Area things going on. The homie Str8 Flame.
What's good? What up?
Good to have you, bro.
Yep. Tree Kastle, Str8 Flame.
We've been talking about it for a minute, but
we making it happen now.
Surprisingly,
right here in the backyard.
too, right? You know,
right here in the backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it that way.
Yeah, no, I was looking forward to come down to the studio. Honestly, you know,
no, we can do that. You already know.
But you know, a spot opens up. Like, come on, man.
Let's get it.
Home turf.
Let's do it while the time is
for
right.
the home team.
Well, and there's a big story to tell, and that's what we've been talking about more than anything. Is that there's a bunch of stories to tell, right? I mean, if anyone knows the Bay and what's been going on in the Bay and the strains and who's been doing what, I mean, dude,
I've been keeping track of a little bit.
When you've been smoking, you get to try, I mean, some of the best people's products, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, like you say, every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Let's start at the beginning. Young Str8 Flame, first time smoking.
First time smoking.
Yeah. So you're growing up in the Bay. Let's start before that. Growing up in the Bay?
Yeah. Born and raised San Francisco. Like before smoking, obviously we're all around weed as a kid. At some point we're introduced to it, but as long as I can remember, it's always been weed. Like my grandma Pat, she's like fucking the definition of a pothead. She'll outsmoke. I don't know about now. She's getting up there, but dude, she would outsmoke fucking anybody. But I was just around weed. She's just like an old school hippie lady. I'd drive up to fucking Guerneville with her in her bucket, and she'd cop 5 packs and bring them back and bust them down. And like, it just weed was like so.
Wow.
It was just like, it wasn't, you know, in any environment a kid is in, it's like that's normal to them. So like weed was just around forever. Yeah. As long as I could remember. Like I remember being in a stroller. Like this is before my sister was born. She's 4. So I'm 4 years older than my sister. And I remember me and my grandma, just her, and I'm in a stroller. So I must have been 3 years old maybe. And she just fucking pushed me through the park and she'd be smoking a joint. She'd pull over and we'd sit at the bench and she'd smoke a joint.
Like a way of life.
Yeah, that's fire. That's how normal weed was for me. So I was just like, eventually it's like, you know, you get to that point where it's like, oh, I guess I get to try this today. You know?
Man, I think you're the first person that had a hustling grandmother.
Yeah.
Nah.
And that was your introduction to weed, though.
Well, definitely
You know
was
what I mean?
my introduction to weed.
That's fucking legendary.
Yeah.
And coming out of the Bay, it makes sense. No, I mean, not the first person in existence, obviously, but first person on the show that said, hey, my grandmother was a hustler, not just a smoker, a hustler.
I mean, dude.
Out of the Bay.
I don't know what she was selling those Ace for, but she was weighing them up on the triple beam scale, the OHAS. You know?
Back in those days, that was the heyday. That was the heyday.
Yeah, the big metal box. Yeah, dude.
Weed was weed back then.
That's crazy.
What type of smoke were you seeing grandma with?
I mean, I seen Graham with Bammer and I seen Graham with fire. Like even
time progressed, right?
Even before I smoked weed myself, like, you know, I'm in the living room. Like my family used to smoke cigarettes in the car with us, fucking with the windows up. We're talking about the mid 80s. Like, you know what I mean?
Shit.
Like
in the Buick.
So they're smoking weed in the house like nothing. I'm there, and I could smell. I know the difference between mids and, you know, whatever. They weren't calling it fire back then. I don't know what they were calling it.
Stress.
Chronic. I keep hearing chronic. Yeah. But that's an LA thing, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was the Bay calling it back then?
I don't know.
The good shit. Well, I hear a lot of AFGU.
Yeah, AFGU was around tough. Yeah.
You know?
You just put us on with the champagne.
Push. Yeah, the champagne.
Buddy's got stories. I mean, that's
talking about that.
Crazy stories about strains.
So, first time smoking weed though, when you got your first time, did you smoke with Grams or did you?
No, actually, I didn't.
It was your homies,
but it was probably my second or third time I smoked with Grams.
That's crazy.
Once Graham found out we were buying weed, she'd come knock on the door. She knew when we were coming in the house that we had a sack. She'd knock on the door open up, I had a curtain. It was like a glass door. I'd open it up. She'd be like, come in, smoke with you guys.
Now she's smoking for free.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But then, she always had weed too. And then
Oh yeah.
she'd smoke with us.
Man, that's so dope.
I was smoking with my grandma before my mom found out I was smoking weed.
Wow.
Yo.
Yeah. I'd be in the living room and my grandma would be like, here. So before my mom came in.
But did it open up a different relationship with your grandma that most people don't have, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's so dope.
100%.
You became like friends.
So right now, if I go up and see my grandmother, she has like slight dementia, right? Like she still knows that she wants to smoke a joint. When she sees me, got a joint.
No way.
Yeah. Couple years, she doesn't smoke no more. She don't smoke more. She's like 84 years old, 83.
Wow.
She don't smoke. My mom won't let her. But
yeah. Dementia and smoke.
But if it was up to, I think she has dementia because she stopped smoking. That's what I think. Because when she was smoking the whole time, she was sharp. She was on her shit. But yeah, a couple years ago, this is me and my grandma in a nutshell. I'm leaving and I'm like, here, Gram, this fucking weed is hella good. I forget what it was. Some fire, maybe some sherb. Something. It was a few years ago. And I'm like, here, Graham, take this joint, save it, and smoke it with someone really special. And she was like, okay, when's the next time you're coming back up? I'm gonna save this till you come back up and smoke it. That's the type of smoker she was. She actually quit smoking. I'm like, damn, Graham, you stopped smoking? And she's like, yeah. I was like, why? And she was like, well, ever since your sister moved out, me, I just want to smoke. We need to get Grandma Patsy on an episode. She's like, I just want to smoke a joint and talk to someone. She's like, no one here to smoke with.
Let's get her on one last episode, man. Smoke a joint. I'll be down for that.
Hey, that lady has,
stories,
bro.
What was weed like back then?
If you really want to know what growing up in the Bay is like, we got to get a hold of Grams and get her on an episode.
Mm-hmm, that'd be dope.
For real.
Just like super, just old school pothead.
So you coming up, what years are we talking?
So back to, we sidetracked, but first time I smoked was mid 93, late 93.
High school? Middle school?
Middle school. I was 13.
Okay. 93.
Wow. Doctor, we were just saying it just a minute ago. Oh yeah. Well, like, bro, we were spoiled with weed. Like, we used to smoke Bammer too because we're broke, and it's like, man, let's just get $100 ounce and roll fucking 50 Bammer joints and get stupid, get a headache and go to sleep. Like, you know what I mean?
When you're younger, more is better.
Yeah, but even back then, we're broke. Like, we're just trying to put together $10 for a fire ass 0.4. Because those were skimp back in the day.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, because we're spoiled with weed. Like, it was always fire.
Damn, that's dope. And so you guys all get together and basically you just decided one day out of nowhere, like, yo, today I'm going to smoke.
So it was me, my brother Joe, SV. We all grew up basically. It all started with graffiti. We're all from the graffiti era. Like, I'd back in the day go out and fucking jump on a bus and fucking take the main bus and that goes by other intersecting lines, and you'd like look on the buses for like tags and you'd be like, oh, there they go, they're on that line. And there was no phones, there's no cell phones. It's like before we even had pagers, like you just go out and try to find your homies. So we just all used to be like in this little graffiti community, running around bus hopping and stealing fucking spray paint and just, doing much shit.
But they would tag the certain bus, and when you get on, you would recognize, yo, this is the line that my homies or these other guys ride. And so you ride it, and then eventually they would either hop on or
I'd be on, like, let's say I'd be on the 38 Geary, and I'd go down and at 6th Avenue is 44. The 44 runs across through Mission, across town. But at the bus stop, I know that bus stop didn't have that graffiti there yesterday because I drive by this bus stop every day. Oh, all of these guys, they hit up on the bus stop and you're like, oh, they're on the 44. They're, so you jump on that line and like, you just try to like bump into people. Like that's how you found your homies back in the day. It's like an ink trail.
I'm a little behind that, but it was like ride your bike in the neighborhood, see where the bikes were at, which house. You kind of knew which house, and then you ride over there, and then you're like, all right, everyone's over
the
here.
Same as that.
Pull up, knock on the door. Hey, miss.
So we did exactly that, right? Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then that graduated into graffiti.
Straight up.
And then, and from graffiti, a lot of us went on, some people went on to do music, some people went on to do art, but most of us went on to dabble in weed.
Makes sense.
Yeah. The first time I smoked, me and my brother Joe, fucking Cookie Monster, we were fucking 13, 14 years old. And we see my two cousins over by the basketball court by where we lived at 48th and fucking Balboa. My brother Joe's telling my two older cousins, like, hey, give us a joint. And he's like, fuck out of here. He's like, come on, man, give us a joint. And he's like, if you guys beat us in basketball, we'll give you a joint.
Okay.
And the three of us beat him. And he gave us a joint.
I love that. I love that. They make you earn it.
Right? Yeah. And they probably let us win too because they
want to see high after. Let's see what happens after now.
Because they were such great role models, right? But yeah, fucking, dude. Just that was the first time we won, and then we went in a rock field and no bullshit. Like Cookie Monster passed up on that joint. Me and Joe were clowning Cookie Monster on that.
Really?
Like, come on, bro. Like, yeah, dude.
So you guys you go all the way back.
Oh yeah.
Man, rest in peace, man.
Yeah, big time.
Shout out to him.
He's come up in almost every episode.
Yeah,
that's how you know.
Real legend in the game.
I love that.
Literally every episode almost.
Like, you know me, like that's
a lot of
that's like, dude, you lose someone, like, bro, you better fucking hold them down.
Well, and that's the way they live on.
Yeah,
and this will go on forever now. So
the best shit. I actually said this at my homie's funeral. That the saying where they say the day that you die is the day that the last person that remembers you dies.
Oh, got you.
If I believe that to be true, maybe not physically alive, but their name is alive. Their energy, like, bro, that's some powerful shit.
You left an impact on anybody you met. I mean, that was evident with us. Like everybody knew. Anytime I would see him, and he always. He was ahead of the wave, just like a lot of your crew was. I mean, that's when we start to get into these stories. I don't know if Pat Gods, if you want to start to get into some, where do we go from here?
I mean, so you're smoking weed. You're sharing with Grams by now.
Yeah.
Getting into high school and stuff. Are you starting to do your thing? Or are you just smoking, chilling? Like, what was high school life like?
Like right out the gate, like really our hype was because we were broke. Had no fucking money. Like, dude, food stamps and shit. Like, we had no fucking money for no weed. We're 12, 13, 14 years old. But like, we would do Cookie Monster was the sickest fucking hustler at school. Like, we would ask kids, every day, hey, let me get 50 cents. Let me get the change at the beanie line. Let me get 50 cents. Let me get a quarter. And it's like, dude, three of us try to come up with $3, whatever we get from our moms. Like, we're going to get a 10 sack after school. And that was the hype. Every fucking day was to figure out how to get a 10 sack after school.
Wow.
Every day. On birthdays, we were getting a 20 sack, maybe an eighth.
You had to go extra hard.
Yeah.
You had to bake some cookies at home or something.
That's it.
Like, bring them up from the food stand.
It was
you had to take the food stand and turn that into.
Well, and you don't even know yet because this dude, man, I seen some fire plates, and we won't get into that yet. But I mean, you're a good cook, bro. I'm gonna be honest, but we'll go. Just keep with the story, though. Yeah. We won't get out of line yet.
So that was it. Like, always just trying to put together a sack, and then fucking. It wasn't until I was 15. Yeah, so basically, fucking middle school, fucking 9th grade. I went to school for like 2 months and dropped out in 9th grade. My family got evicted from the house we were staying at. They were moving to Santa Rosa. And, I was just kind of raised by my friends. We just raised each other, even though we had homes. Like, they weren't like the best of homes. We were running the streets to get away from the shit at home. And we were like raising each other and learning and, just like kind of being part of a team. You know? And, hey, you got the Swisher today. You got the fucking, we're going to fade on this. Like, you were just going to put it together. And dude, me and my brother Joe, like going to Safeway, like 10, 11 years old, fucking, hey, get the hoagie fucking breads, get the breads, get the French roll. I'm gonna get the salami and the shit, and we're gonna go ask the deli for some mayonnaise packs, and we're gonna make a sandwich outside and just like go and fucking steal our meals, you know? So that was it, dude. Just like always just trying to put together a sack, trying to put together a burrito so we could share it type shit. But yeah, we got fucking evicted, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna go live with my friends. Like, I'm not going just up here. It was actually Santa Rosa.
Wow. Okay,
and just,
bro. Wow.
Just like what I seen in my family, a lot of drug use. And I just really 15 years old, I was like, if I go up to Santa Rosa and I leave what I know to go up there to the unknown in this same situation, I'm trying to get away from the house. Like, if I go up there, I'm gonna just be a drug addict. Like, I already knew. I was like, I'd rather just sleep on the couches with my homies. That's what I did. And that day, actually, Browski, we should talk about Browski. Browski to us is like the first branded weed. And it was fucking the homie Sear. It was his older cousin Browski. And he used to have this weed that was the ugliest looking fucking weed you ever seen. But it was just smelled like skunk ass. Like just the foulest, skunkiest shit. And it just got the term in the city is Browski. His name was Browski. Well, that was the weed. But yeah, he hit me up. He heard that we got evicted. He heard that I was like, staying with the homies. He's like, Tone, you ready to start booming? And I was like, yup. And he fucking tossed me a zip on the strength. Like, here, just start doing your thing.
Some Browski.
Jim
Browski.
Yes. Browski. Yeah.
He's still around?
Nah, he's out the game. He's on some other shit. Yeah.
Legend though, still legend.
Hey, one of the illest dudes that I ever fucking met, for real.
He's like
him and Cookie, Sear's cousin, but like him and Cookie were stupid tight.
Well, and I see you bring up Sear a lot, and I see like you give homage to him a lot.
Oh.
And you guys were like hella close. I know that. I can tell now where you guys were. Like, you guys always looked out for each other. Everyone had each other's back. It seems like that from the very beginning.
Yes.
That's really cool, man. That's even a dynamic a lot of people want.
Even when, because we were brothers, even when we bumped heads, it was like because one of us needed to learn a lesson type thing. So we always able to come back. I bumped heads with people and never talked to them ever again. But I bumped heads with pretty much all my brothers. When I say brothers, I'm talking about day one, 1990, 92, 25 plus year, so yeah.
In accordance with however old you are, how long you've been rocking. Like if you're 20 and you've been rocking with someone 10 years, pretty much a brother.
There you go.
You know what I mean? At that point.
Exactly. When half of your life.
Yeah. I mean, and that's as old as you can hang out, really.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I feel that for sure.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were in the Mecca from the beginning. And so let's go back to where, so you're smoking. When does love for the actual plant? Cause I know you got that green thumb, and I've seen that through your stories, through your posts from day one, that before Tree Castle, before all that, when does cultivation come in? When does that whole
2006 is when I started getting dirt under my fingernails. Maybe the year before that, Cookie Monster, a couple of the homies, they were already growing, right? And it was interesting to me, wow, growing pounds of weed cost this much. And yeah, it's interesting. But once they broke down 4 feet by 4 feet, one light, it costs this much to run it. And then you have to get the plants, and then you do this. And after 3 months, you could have a P.5. It was always some number that we never fucking hit. That, P.5 a light, you can make fucking 60 grand 4 times a year, off of this one bedroom that never worked.
Fuck one of those numbers, man.
Right?
Holy
Right?
shit.
Bro. But still, once I got, put on with that, it's like, wow.
I don't want to point any fingers, but
I want to.
Oh, I'm fucking dying. Oh, you can see why I'm dying, bro. Because it you know,
every run's like, we should do this. I'm like, nah, I don't want to hear none of that
Hey.
shit. We'll see how we do.
Anytime I tell someone if we put together this room, it's always the absolute low ball.
And
If you tell them, hey, this is only gonna net us, it costs 50 grand to put this room up. You're not going to see no money until the third round.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not going to see no money till the third round.
If things go good.
If things go absolute as worst as possible, you're not going to see no money till the third round.
We're going to have a bunch of live resin.
But yeah, exactly. But, if you could live with that, then, it's only going up from here, right?
Oh my God.
It's a lot of live resin to sell.
You can tell.
I ash on myself.
You can tell.
It's true, though.
There's some real game. Yeah, no, it is true, bro. But I mean, it's funny. You keep naming off legendary people. I mean, you were around some big names. I mean,
I was around the homies.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Like, people, when are you going to get on the podcast? Like, I'm going to get on there. Like, you need to hear that. Like, why? Well, I don't get it. Like, why? I don't know. Why do I want to watch your guys' episode every Monday? I don't want to I'm not going to be on there Monday watching my episode. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't see it like that. You just, like I said, with weed, I've just been spoiled. But if I take a step back, it's like, like the love for the plant. It's like, was it one day? Yeah, probably once I started being in the rooms. Obviously, I'm around the plants, but like, the fact that weed has always been a part of me since a stroller walk with my grandmother in the park. Like,
there's comfort there.
I don't know this, but like, yeah, I guess I'm a weed person. Like, by default,
it was just
almost by default.
Graduation.
Yeah, like, it's just, and I guess like, I guess you realize that and you're like, hey, I want to do this.
But you mentioned to me that someone pushed you towards it. Someone was like,
I was just gonna say, I was like, Cookie hit me. Big D hit me, and this was in 2006. He's like, hey, I need some fucking help. I was doing bad at the time. I was out in the streets, the bars and clubbing and drugs and just, being a fuck off.
Not focused
at all.
And how old were you?
I was 20. This was
usually in the 20s.
2006. I was 25, 26. Yeah. And I had been in the streets for I had a kid when I was 21. I had my son. And then when he was 2, I kind of just fell off and just ran the streets for a few years. But I was doing dumb shit. D needed some help. And he's like, hey, I need some help at one of my grow spots. Come help me. I'll fucking, pay you for the day. I'm like, cool. Get in the car. Like I was telling you, took a fucking 2-hour ride to an 8 lighter, because is wherever you could get some space.
Did they blindfold you? No, it was a homie.
Nah. But yeah, we go to the spot and we're transplanting, putting dirt down, resetting, and I'm just he's breaking it all down to me. I'm like, damn, this seems pretty legit. And he was just telling me, he's like, hey dude, you'll be hella good at it. You should get in one of these rooms. So yeah, he gave me that the first time I did some shit. My other homie had a room. I started helping him out. And then, yeah, I was just helping out in rooms for the first year. And I put up I built a fucking room in my homie's kitchen in his apartment out of black and white Panda film. Literally.
In the kitchen?
In the kitchen, in the corner, where you put your dining room table.
Where most people would.
I put a fucking frame on one there, and I just used those 2 walls, and I fucking tight black and white Panda film.
Smart.
That was the first time I ever put up a light, and it was yeah, I think we got it was an SR71.
I was about to say. Purple Kush,
that was the first
SR71.
plant that I grew of my own. The first plants that I grew with my homie was NYC sour diesel, grapefruit.
Ooh,
wow.
Bro, still. It's not just because I was the first one, bro. I always ask people whenever they bring it up, do you know where that is? That grapefruit one, that was special. Hog,
that was before hash. Now think with the hash, what would taste like.
Yeah, no shit. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. But yeah, it's just some train wreck, some shit, you just go get clones at the club type shit.
And then what? So you're going through different strains. What was the first boom? Was it Girl Scout? Was it You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like it took over and you're like, we have to grow this.
Kush.
OG. Oh, hold on. Now tell me what you were saying, though. It used to not be OG Kush.
Well, prior to growing, I'm talking about 2000, early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s. There was just Kush. Like
Before
when
OG.
Kush popped up. Yeah. But like, yeah.
And he was even different looking.
It was just Kush. It was like the best version, just lemon, that pine sol shit. And I know there's OGs around that's similar to that. That Billy Kimber's close. I haven't seen that elephant growth shit, but from looking at it, just that really lime green, calyx, swollen Kush, like just little hard ass buds of Kush, like
hard to grow too.
Yeah, not that San Fernando Valley, not that peppery Kush, not too much earth. I'm talking about lemon peels, like Myers lemons. So yeah, like there was just Kush back in the day. But once it got out, I mean, that's when it was OG or Platinum or all Larry, all these different OGs. Just kind of the same thing what happened with cookies, right? There was one, and then now there's over 1,000?
Yeah.
5,000? How many phenos are out there? How many bag seeds got?
In my opinion, there's like 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying? And Animal Cookies is at the top with Platinum Cookies.
No, I'm not even asking how many good ones. I'm saying how many seeds have been
How many
popped?
Thousands
Variations?
and thousands and thousands.
Same as Kush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And realistically,
It
probably
happens
hundreds, but yeah.
Pretty much
greenhouse.
happening to every strain that becomes a hit.
Yeah.
You're right.
You know?
Yeah.
Look at
In
runs.
like a time capsule.
Yes.
Looking back. So you going from your homie's kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
where'd you go from there?
So let me see. So I'm helping my homie out at his spot.
And he's one light over a 4x4 table.
It was 2 lights over like a 6x4. We just working with this little tiny, as big as a kitchen table is. That's how much space we had to work with, you know. But yeah, we're doing that. I'm helping my homie out in his shit. You know, he break me off, and I'm just like making resis and measuring fucking newts and like plucking leaves and putting nets up, just the usual shit. Just learning how a grow room operates. My homie Alfie, like really, like Cook taught me a lot in the room, like my beginning, but like my homie Alfie was on some like, even though he was learning himself, he's like, don't ever cut no corner. Don't be a fucking, don't fucking throw garbage on your floor. Like be on top of your shit. Like, dude, like really, dude, like learn this shit. Like that's, do it right the first time, dude. That's where I got that from. So,
Are you disciplined?
Yeah. Yeah. In the room, just,
Respect
Structure.
for it.
yeah. Yeah. Like I always say, like, people send me shit all the time because I used to make posts about your hose not being wound up, coiled. I'd be like, dude, I came into my spot. I'm helping my homie run this spot, like 100 something lighter. I come in and fucking got a fucking 100-foot hose. It's fucking like dreadlocked out. And I'm like, I don't want to spend 4 minutes of my day undoing this. Like, just do it right, dude. And I put up a post, and now this is years ago. Now still to this day, I still have people. They'll tag me in a post and be like, "Hey, I coiled my hose today," and they'll tag me. It's just like a thing because it's like, dude,
it carries.
It does. Even if you always talk about environment, if you have the perfect room and the perfect environment, but you leave fucking leaves that dry up and you step on them and it turns into dead leaf shit and there's a little dirt there or whatever, like, soda cans, whatever the fuck it is.
Leaks
and you just
of
leave it
water.
around and all the hoses are like, bro, like when you walk in, your mindset is not going to be the same as if you walk in and everything is, you're ready to go. You're ready to produce, like I just think that. I mean, people don't think that, but
it's foreign to some people to clean the whole room after every run.
And their argument is like, it grows in dirt. It's like, yeah, but it's different, bro.
Yeah, would
Like,
you eat? Eat it then.
Yeah.
Eat take a spoonful.
Yeah.
No, it's wild. And that's why I still remember that post, bro. And that was great. And you're real good at dropping those real gems on people, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and so where does it go from there? 2 lights over
so
6?
Doing that, and then my homie Alfie, we used to fuck around on online poker. Like I'm play hella poker. We're playing online poker.
I seen that you was out there at the WSOP.
Yeah, I was out
My
in Vegas.
boys into all that shit too. So
Yeah.
I had
Dude,
took notice to you posting.
That shit was great.
You had
People
to
ride with you.
You had to game everybody on. Listen, people, these are fucking tournament chips.
Yeah.
They did not
They
like
really
these
think
are-
They really think I went
You know
from
what-
10,000 to $1 million, and
You know
then
what's
I
funny?
lost. And they really send me messages
love
like,
that.
Yo,
"Fucking
sorry about that,
idiot.
homie.
You lost all of that. I told you to leave." Like, bro,
My family could have done everything.
yeah, exactly.
We should have started
You
to
coulda
grow,
ended
bro. Like
world
I've been
hunger.
saying.
Yeah, yeah,
I love that.
You know what's funny? I had no idea either. So you taught me something that night.
yeah.
I didn't.
It's
Not that I was even counting chips,
Yeah.
but it still taught me something that night where I was like, "Oh shit, tournament chips. That makes sense."
Mhm.
How else? You know, that's
So, yeah, we're playing this tournament. He buys in for $33. We go out third place. I'm helping him. He's like he taught me how to grow weed, and basically on our time off
and gamble off all the money.
That's what I was about to say.
I'm showing him how to play poker,
Oh Lord,
right? Because I was already playing poker, so I'm showing him, and we end up making like I think it was 35 or 5,500 off $33.
Oh, he was.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then the
done.
next night, he thinks like we're like geniuses now,
Sizzled
right?
it all.
Yeah.
So he wants to buy in. We're talking about a $33 tournament. He wants to buy in for this $200 tournament. And I'm like, nah, bro, like that's not how it works, dude. He's like, nope, we're doing it. I'm like, don't do it. Save your money, bro. Like we got lucky last night. We played good, but it's just going to start buying into all these tournaments. He's like, we're doing it. And he bought into it. And I sat there with him the whole thing. We end up winning it for $28,000.
Oh wow.
So
God.
in one day, we turned $33 into $34,000. So he broke me off fucking $8,000, and I went and fucking got some lights.
And was he hooked after that?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
He was done after
And
that.
what were
You're
you
roasted.
too?
Oh,
You were already playing, though,
I was
right?
already playing, but like
Who wouldn't be?
after that, I'm like, you know, that was in 2000. That's 15 years ago.
You're like, am I a genius?
I started playing in 2004. So in 2006, I know, just like any grow room, any time it's time to make food at the house, like, bro, fire every time. I expect to win. When I sit down and play a video game, even if I know you're better than me at that video game,
You shooting
I
away.
expect to win. Like I just do. It's just, and you know, of course I know you can't every time, but I go into that with that expectation. So, it's like, yeah, dude.
So you took that $8,000 and that rolled you into your first real, basically
Yeah.
eight
That was-
lights.
That was 2000 and so 2006. Yeah, 2006. That's when that happened. Then me and my girl bought a house, and it had like didn't have an attached garage. Basically, this house had like a 10-foot wood fence. It was on the corner, so you couldn't see in the house. You pull up, the fence opens up, and you pull into the carport and close the fence behind you. No one could see nothing. Like I could fucking do whatever I wanted in that yard. No one could see shit. So there's a carport, but there's like this little office area that I put 6 lights in.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was my first fucking 6 light. We just bought a house. Like life was great.
And you went to some of your homies for plants, or what? Like, what's the first strain you rock now that you got your own grow?
So this is what happened is that this is like probably 4 months after we move in. You know, I put the room together. I think I was waiting for a mini split. There was one piece to the room that I didn't have yet. And then I get a knock on the door, and some lady and some dude is there, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing inside my gate? Like, it's weird that someone knocks on the door because that fence. You know? And they're like, hey, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? And they're like, we own the house. And I'm like, what are you, the bank? I'm like, what are you, the bank? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. Like, yeah, we get it. We're making our payment. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, you're not supposed to be in this house. And I'm like, well, me and my girl bought this house like 5 months ago. We put money down. We've been paying mortgage. They're like, yeah, you guys are squatters. So it comes to find out that the lady who got us this house, a family friend, she was working with this dude who was like doing real estate fraud. And so we had put money down on this house and lost 4 months of mortgage. And we found out that we had to get out of our house. So got to pull the 6 lights down, right? That's the first room that I had of my own that never got fired up. So then I go back to my homie Alfie's house. She goes back to grandma's house, fucking thugging it out, fucking finally get a place about a year later. And then, 2-car garage, 12 lights, fucking open it up.
Man,
did you buy or did you rent?
No, we bought a house.
Legit this time. You want to
legit this
you
time.
went on the yellow.
My homie Rem,
Yeah, to
real
figure
estate
it out.
agent. Yeah, he
to triple verify.
Fucking
Bro,
scammers,
That's
bro.
insane. I couldn't imagine.
family friend.
Bro, I couldn't imagine being in a house being like, this is our house. And you got your girl.
Oh, and you set up.
And it's like one day, just the bank.
And you look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
You look
bro.
like, yo, what are you doing
That's
here?
some fucked up shit.
What about if I got an extra 2 months out of that and I fire up the room and I got plants in the room and people show up and they just like, what the fuck's going on here? How bad would it have been if that room was rocking?
Call the cops.
Yeah.
And now you got a problem on your hands
Now
and you're
I am
not
the
living
bad
here.
guy.
Yeah.
Now I am.
This dude's a squatter and he's growing weed in our house.
Yeah. Yep.
Str8 Flame.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hot.
Holy
So then
shit.
you come back with a 2-car garage.
So then I get the spot.
That's a level up.
And we go get a spot. This is in 2008. So up at 2, like I was telling him earlier, I was like, we got the keys for that spot. And 24 hours later, that shit was tapped. I was bringing in grow equipment when we were bringing in our bedroom set. Like
Straight
that
up.
shit was like, we're doing this ASAP.
Yeah.
So,
What strain? And old school lights, huh?
Wasn't running perp. Was running perp in there, sour perp. This was before the cookies. So 2008. Yeah, I got a couple runs. Kush sour perp for the most part.
So the purple kush.
Not the purple kush.
Oh, the OG.
I had some Granddad. Yeah, I had some GDP and then
Legendary
some OG,
strains.
some Platinums, Kush, and then some sour. Because sour was like yielding. Everyone wanted
Crazy.
sour. Yeah.
Sour
was nuts out
ran
here.
the East for so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
And I think, it's obviously coming back. You know what I mean?
I always tripped how like you could not. That's all they wanted.
Yeah.
Was sour.
No, for real.
Like
sour.
you could show them
Sour and OG.
So you could show them anything from the future and they'd be like, it's not that. It's not that. We don't want it. And it's like, what the fuck? And now it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, and it's
totally
all
different.
cyclical.
There's a very few, I know there's like a few probably crews out there that like strictly sour still. There's always, there's always a market for that old school shit. Right now there's a market for OG. Why? Bringing it back. I'm telling you, there's a market for OG. There's
People are talking about if you had some fire ass indoor blue dream or some shit, there'd be a buyer for it right now.
at
People would
this
be like,
point,
yo,
if
what-
it's fire, like if it's clean and quality,
and
anything will
fresh.
sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing, right?
The most flawless batch of Blue Dream right now is still way better than a mid-grade bag of runts to me.
Real talk.
And I don't want to
agree.
smoke no Blue Dream, but I'm definitely not smoking that other shit.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't mind, keep going because I kind of know part of this story. The cookies, man, and where did give us drop us some
okay.
history.
So
What were your runs like in the 12 lighter? Like, what was that first run like?
the first run out of that room, I had Kush and I don't know what else I had in there. Maybe it was all Kush. I got 9 piece.
So you did good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And prices were high.
You're thinking
Mhm.
one per because that's
No, you
the
did
rule
good.
of thumb.
You got a crop.
But I'm
You did
also
good.
like, I need if I could get half of that, I'll be okay with the prices. If I get 6 P's and the prices are fucking 4,400, 4,800, I'm cool with that.
Yep.
So then I got
And you're just putting it out not under your own brand. You're just saying like, oh yeah,
Oh,
there's
there's no brand or nothing. This is just
Which I want to double back to that because you talk about Browski and how he was the first person branding. You know,
it wasn't really that he branded it. The streets branded it.
Got it. So there's no stickers or nothing. It was just known as his herb. Okay.
No one else had
I want to get into that. Who the first people to be, you know, from the Bay Area or just NorCal in general, kind of putting on like
there was a lot of strains back in the day. Like I remember when, you know, maybe we had 5 or 6 dudes that we would page for fire.
Page. He said page.
Yeah. There's no
for everyone
calling.
listening at home, he just said page.
So you know,
the pager
wouldn't
went on your side.
A beeper.
We
wouldn't beep all of
Google
them.
it.
We would know who has the fire.
Yeah.
And like, hey, his new shit, there was no name. Hey, it's dank. He's got some dank. So then we would fuck with him until that ran out, you know? And then you'd go to someone else. Sometimes you'd page 3 people on some like whoever calls back first, they're getting the sack. We're getting the sack from him.
Yeah. That's usually how it was back in the day.
And there was no strains. It was
like,
just
who's
dank.
gonna hit us back first?
But there was like, I was just talking about this with my homie last night. Like there was Nade. Like Nade was like a name for weed. Nade.
Okay.
Wow.
And like
what did that mean?
Canadian.
Got it. Okay.
The fire to me
BC.
from back in the day.
So we called it
was
BC. Yeah.
Now, what we called BC in the city was like the BC mids. That orange crush shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the shit that smelled
rock.
It was old.
The shit that smelled like fabric softener from
crazy.
Dude. There's
neon red hairs.
That bunk ass shit.
Yeah. But then there were different batches.
There was fire. There was fire though. That was
really
that was coming down.
We didn't get that down in Florida. Even the AAA was like AAA. You know, it's like buying AAA garbage bags. It's still a garbage bag.
Yeah. It's not.
I mean, like, you know what I'm saying?
It's not the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nade. There was Blueberry. You know,
ooh.
Like very few strains that had names though. But Browski kind of got dubbed through the streets.
Damn.
Was it long after you said Champagne?
Yeah, Champ was after. Champ was more like late 90s, 98. I think it started popping up 98.
Before
99.
2000.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
He put us on some game about Champagne, if you don't mind.
Dude, it's the most unique smelling weed ever. Like I said, when you lit it, that smoke off the tip of the joint, like you just knew that was champagne. It had a fragrance. It didn't have like a smell.
Like what?
Like juicy fruit bubble gums. Well, I asked you earlier, like, what was that like? A dry stick of juicy fruit bubble gum. That smell when you're about to put it. That's
my great grandfather at church would always give, you know, his pack of gum. Juicy fruit was one of them, and like you could just smell. You
your smell is your strongest sense.
Banana, pineapple.
You could smell
mango.
something right now that you haven't smelled since you were 5 years old, and you smell it, and it'll in your head. That chemical reaction will bring you right back to that fucking moment.
I'll smell girl's perfume, and I'm like, 16 again.
Yeah, there you go,
chasing. You know,
yep. It's crazy, dude. So that weed was just. Oh, it was just something else.
I like that name too, Champagne. That hasn't even been tapped.
By Champelli.
Yeah.
Shout out Champelli 415.
I think Pelly got his name from that weed because it was called 100%. Champagne. You know,
he puts on heavy.
So then, what's up with it? Where is the champagne?
That shit's gone. And maybe he'll say he's going to bring it back or whatever. But like how I say about all the old school weed, shit's gone, dude. Like I'm not gonna waste. I'm not gonna waste no energy on like hope or belief. Man. Like that shit's gone. Let that shit go. You ain't never go. Hey,
the one that got away.
Yes, that's it.
Great White Buffalo.
That's it. It's never coming back.
But then this cookies phase rolled in, and I have a top 3 cookies: Platinum, Animal, and then the original Forum. I didn't get to see the cookie phase in SF, but bro, you put me onto so much knowledge, and I watch your feed. If you don't know about Str8 Flame's feed, he drops so much knowledge on a weekly basis. What's up with animal cookies?
Animal. So prior to cookies, how I got in with, those genetics is that room, that 12 light room. I actually grew cherry pie, do a whole round of cherry pie in there. And that was with, that was Jigga shit. So Cookie and Jigga had their relationship. They were doing their own thing. And Jigga saw the fire that I pulled out of my first run at the thing. He was like, hey, run the cherry. It was actually supposed to be cherry kush. Run the cherry kush and give me a light. I'll give you the clones. Give me a light. That was his deal. That's what guys were doing back in the day.
Damn.
Was like, I'll give you the clones for this next run. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm like, fuck yeah. I get Jigga. Like, I get to have Jigga on call.
Wow.
And grow cherry kush. Even though I ended up growing cherry pie, he gave me cherry pie. I always hated pie. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves dirt. Nah, not that.
Did it seed out? Did it have seeds?
Everyone keeps saying that.
Just spray reverse on that shit like religiously. That was the when those clones, remedy. You got those clones, it was like, hey, go get that reverse. Make sure you spray on day 1 and day 7.
Yeah.
To keep it.
We just always heard it was yeah. It like to go.
So there would be a lot of sacks, but that shit, there wasn't a lot of seeds in the original cherry pie. There wasn't a lot of seeds, dude. There was a lot of sacks. There was a lot of weird shit going on that plant, but there wasn't a lot of seeds. I hated that weed. Like the F1 Derb. I know everyone loves it. There's a lot of weed that I know everyone loves that I fucking can't stand. Like those are some of them.
But you're truthful about it, and that's what we love about you.
And it's not even that I'm saying it's bad weed. I'm saying for my taste, it's all preference.
Just like food.
Yeah, same shit. Same.
People don't get everything on the menu.
Yeah. Like I can't understand how people don't like bacon. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You don't like bacon on your burger? Like, we're not from the same planet. And I get it, I totally get it. But nah, it's like I'm like, I'll give me the genetics. I'm gonna run this shit and fucking.
That's a hell of a deal. That's insane. Did you realize what was happening at the time, or you were just going with the flow at this point?
No. So what I knew from being around. Keep in mind when I have my 12 lighter, I'm also like still helping the homies in their room. That was cool. Is that we all kind of like helped each other. Like
that's crucial.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a
people don't talk about that part enough.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we all came up with the growing shit. Was that we'd fucking go over here. You got to chop today. We're gonna chop over there. Fucking, hey, I need some help. Fucking help me do a dump run. Whatever. We're all doing our own shit. But like, you can always call the homies and be like, hey, because they know. How you got to get this shit done. Or
few people can be trusted.
Yeah, and like
times are different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even now, it's just like
And so you weren't having problems back then. Well, let me make sure we talk about this.
Yeah, we were having problems.
So exactly.
Nah, bro, we were flawless from day one.
That's what I'm saying. Give me a light. How about give me your whole garden once I figure out where it's at?
We've never had a bad run.
Yeah, but more like, okay, let me figure out where you're running this one for a couple runs. But the cookie story. So what were the first? That's how you got cookies was straight from Jigga.
So cherry pie. I ran cherry pie twice. And then cookies came out. Well, it was cherry pie and cherry kush. And, I probably catch a lot of shit for this, but this is my truth. This is what I know to be true to me because of what was told to me, because of being around and seeing, these things unfold, is that it was first cherry pie that the Cookie Monster was growing. And then the cherry pie, I guess, to the Flow Rider, the OG, that was Cherry Kush. So then the Cherry Kush came out and it was like, dude, it was so fucking good that Cookie started growing that, of course, with Jigga's permission. And once T started growing those, then me and the homie were like cool with Jigga too. And he's like, yeah, you guys grow fire too. Here goes the genetics. Let me get a light. So Jigga had this thing working out where he had people that he trusted to grow fire. And he knew that when he got his return back, it would be, a light's worth of whatever fucking genetics he gave him.
So he
fire.
gave you guys cherry kush.
Yeah. So we're doing a cherry pie and cherry kush. And then cookies came out. And the cookies that we know now is not the original Thin Mint.
No.
It's not. The first time the weed was called Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies, it was, you ever grow perp and on the bottom buds that you don't clean up the bottoms on perp? The bottom buds are like so larfy and lime green.
Yeah.
You know that, like,
Oh yeah.
They look like a different strain. You're like, is this the same as this
it
other
looks
part?
like lettuce. It smells like wet weed, right?
Yeah.
Pretty annoying.
Yeah.
This weed, right? I'll never forget it. It was me and Cook and my little brother, Don. And we go meet Jigga, and he's got some new batches. And he jumps in the car. He hands me I'm in the passenger seat. He's in the back. Cookie's fucking driving, and he hands me a bag. He's like, oh, that's the new cherry. Like, oh shit, that looks hella like, fresh batch. Ooh, Jigga's weed. Like, we're hella excited when Jigga had a new batch. Like, dude, he's like, Cookie used to call him Sensei. That's what he called him, Sensei. Yeah. So yeah,
That's
we're
real.
just pumped. And then he goes to hand me this other bag, and he has a bud in his hand. And I'm like, no, what is that? I don't even want to see that. I don't even want that bag. What is that? And it was like this lime green, shitty looking bud that looked like what we were just talking about. And it just covered like tarantula fur. Just like you put it in a bag, and it's like looks like a loogie when you pull the fucking bud out. It was just disgusting looking nothing weed that literally right when he handed it to me, I'm like, dude, this shit smells like Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies. Like, it smelled like mint cookies. And that one, he's called it Ethiopia at the time. I talked to Jig about this. He called it Ethiopia. He had like different African country names for these different phenos. And
Interesting.
That was Ethiopia.
Okay.
And that shit was so fucking fire. And then that supposedly was crossed to Kush. Again, back to Kush. And that's what we know as Girl Scout cookies.
Wow. Okay.
So this hardball shit is like not the original Thin Mint cookies. And like, this isn't like a secret or anything, but
well,
like,
it sounds, I've never heard this. I don't think a lot of
Jigga
people
talked
have.
about it online. It might be on an old post of mine, maybe even.
Wow.
Like we had this talk like about Ethiopia. Like that is if you thought cookies was a game changer, like that's a completely different realm of fucking marijuana. Like the smell, like Champelli, like the smell on it is like, like you're looking for like new smells and new flavors in weed. Like most of the shit now is like, it's different, but it's, really,
it's a reiteration.
There's been no game changers.
Different but same.
Yeah. Yes.
That's for real.
It's like Doja said, I don't have favorite strains. I have favorite batches. That's exactly what it is these days.
Same.
Ooh.
It's batch specific.
That's it.
Drop that
Hey,
check.
Like that shirt banger that when you gave us that. Come on, man.
Right here. That's what I'm smoking right now.
And there's barely
Dude,
anything
this
left.
is fire.
That was a couple days
This
ago.
was full.
I don't even just say that because that's the homie, but like, dude,
Fresh.
even
fire.
prior to Sherbanger, the homie NorCal, his batches are like so consistent. And
Shout out
just like
NorCal
everyone
Gardens.
else, when they're not, when it's not a good batch, he's like, hey, this ain't it.
Can't
Like,
put
bro,
it out there like
That's it.
that.
That's
You know what I mean?
that's the type of weed that I want to fuck with.
This
For
one
real,
is
for real.
it.
Yeah.
This
it
one is
It's it, dude. And every time it's the
Fresh.
same. Like it's always the same, bro. I'm not even joking. It's not better. Like that is pretty much the top potential.
From freshness to the trim job on that
all of
right
it.
there is fucking
that's it.
crazy.
Gassy and sweet.
I was happy to get that jar for real.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. helping me
Animal
out, too.
cookies.
Absolutely.
Animal cookies.
Yes, because
So-
you wear the hoodie. I see the like. Where's the offshoot? Where does
So
that
you're
come
just
in?
getting hold of the Thin Mint. Where does
No,
it go from
not
there?
getting a hold of the Thin Mint.
You're seeing it.
seeing it.
Okay.
Then I remember like it must have been a few weeks later, a month later, I don't know. I see Jiggin. I'm like, he's like, oh, it's cookies. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna call it cookies. I'm like, don't call it cookies. That's a stupid ass name. You're gonna call it cookies, really? But it made sense because cherry pie, like that was before the food name Str8. Like that was the beginning of it. So, in hindsight, it's like, yeah, that was brilliant. But at the time, I'm like, you call this weed cookies? Like that's the stupidest shit ever. But yeah, fucking animal cookies is the way I got the cut. And this has been talked about. I've talked about this online. I got the cut through Cookie Monster. And no one's supposed to be growing the cookies. We grow the cherry pie and the cherry kush, but no one's supposed to be growing the cookies, right? Well, I would help Cookie out with his rooms and do work for him, and he would let me grow the cooks on the under. And I would grow, half a room or whatever. I think at the time I put up in my 12 lighter, I put up a wall in the middle so I could get 2 6 light rooms. And I would rock the cookies out. Well, me and him had a fallout, and for whatever reason, whoever was right or wrong, whatever,
Friends have sometimes.
I justified to even the playing field. I was like, I'm going to take this cut, one clone unrooted. I'm taking this, and I'm not going to be extorted, and I'm not going to do that for this. But like, you're not going to continue to like extort me and the homies. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of what it turned into.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of guys out there, and there's a lot of feelings like that.
That's the genetic. That's a game changer. Cookies. When you get people to start like being really weird. It's how it was with Kush too. Like, dude, those clones of Kush, that shit was $10,000 a cut. And I knew people like that had it that wouldn't sell it. They didn't want us to have it. Well, when I had the cookies, who do you think that they hit to try to get cuts? Yeah, I got you. I never ever sold one fucking cut to anybody like that ever. Like, yeah, dude, genetics, bro. It's crazy. I see people act hella funny over them. So yeah, basically I took the cut from Cookie.
Should they?
Huh?
Should they?
No.
Do you think they should just give them out, and it should be like any grower? Because why? Because every grower grows it different, or what? Because I'm asking you this because I know you have certain cuts that people want. Because
this is, you could ask 100 people. I've fucked with hella people on cuts. A lot of people, the first thing they say when you give them a cut, hey, I'm going to keep this on lock. And I'm like, nah, bro, you don't have to. Huh? Well, it's not my cut. That's ours. Like, now that's ours. Like, bud, do whatever you want with it. Like, I'm like, to try to have this like control over something.
Not going to happen.
Is never going to work, especially if the whole like foundation of this shit is, here, I'm going to give it to you. Give me a light. I'm going to give it to you. Give me a light. I'm going to give it to you. Give me a light. Don't give it to no one else. Only I could make a light off of these genetics because they're mine, in the right mind, he thinks that. But when you start giving it to these people and then they're like, I'm paying a light for this weed and I have it and I'm just going to get it to his room and he's going to give me a light and like, he's going to give me a light and then those guys are going to, like, dude, it's out. It's out. People are selling that shit. I turned down a lot of money for cookie cuts. A lot of money. Like in 2010, 11, I could have sold 20 $10,000 cuts, like nothing, like no problem. Like that's what they were going for.
What about the animal cookies? Where'd that come in?
So animal cookies is, I want to say it was 2011, and is right around the time when,
You want some Surebanger?
no, I'm good. I got some Surebanger. Right around the time when you started seeing a lot of other cookie packs, and they weren't the ones. It's like, wait, this is cookies, but what is this? I didn't know about fucking bag seeds and phenos and all that. We didn't know anything like that. We knew about different strains, obviously, but like in our mind, there's only one cookie. There's not a bunch of phenos of cookies. Even Cherry Kush, there was a couple different phenos. Cherry pie was one. There wasn't a bunch of different cherry pies. Cookies was the same. So then you start seeing these other packs. It's like, I think we're getting 42, 44 for cookies at the time. And start seeing these other packs at like 32, 34. And it's like, well, what are these? Like, these are like, it's cookies, but it's mids. Like that shit, they must have the cut, but they don't know what they're doing, basically. But they're also fucking in production warehouse. They're once people got a hold of that and they start putting them in warehouses, it's like, it starts driving the prices down. I saw cookies go from like 44, 42, $200 every round. And it's just keep going down and down and down, So, yeah, the homie comes over, my homie Sear, who, and this is a fucked up story. So he goes to jail. He's in jail, right? And he has his girl he lived like 5-10 minutes from me. He has his girl taking care of his garden. So she calls me on like 3-way. He's in jail. And he's like, hey, can you go over to my house, please? Like, something must be wrong. I go over there and fucking his whole round of Kush finally got a hold of that $10,000 cut. That was his pride and joy. His whole round, like, he had like some moms of it. And then he had like, I think he had 8 lights in a room. His whole fucking, every plant was burnt, crisp, burnt. Like, dude, the whole shit, there's nothing salvageable. There isn't a leaf in there that I could save. That's gone. And I have to tell him this. He's in jail. And he's like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, no, you got to be able to. I'm like, bro, they're done. They just started. They're clones. They're done. His girl was she had a recipe for the nutrients that goes into a 5-gallon bucket. Well, she was putting the however many milligrams of fucking A and B, like right into each plant, scooping out raw nutrients into the clones. So she burnt everything, and like he was fucking, dude, he was struggling. And I was like, bud, don't worry. I was like, don't worry. When you get out, like, don't worry, I got something. Like when he got out, I gave him the cookie cut. When I got the cookie cut, I basically, no bullshit. And this is why me and Cookie, we fell out over this for a few years. But when I got the cookie cut, I literally gave it to a few of my homies that were kind of get taken advantage of, like as far as like what they had to do to be able to grow that, and then what they were getting extorted for, like just to like I said, to be a dickhead, to be the guy that I am. Like no one's gonna run laps around me or take advantage of me or anything. Like fuck it, dude. This is what I got to do. This is if this is where it's gonna hurt, this is where I'm gonna poke you back at. So I gave those cuts to a few of my homies. Kind of cut his. You getting 3 packs or 3 lights out of these grows on top of your own shit. Like now you don't get those. So I gave that to a few homies. My homie Sear, when he got out, I gave it to him. We're rocking. We're just growing cookies. It was platinum fucking cookies. That's what we called it. Platinum cookies. And then he comes over one day and he's like, hey, dude, he knocks on my door. He comes over and he's like, hey, dude, I'm starting to see hella those cheap ass packs. And I'm like, yeah, dude, they're everywhere. Like they don't look good. They're not this, but like people that don't know cookies, we're not producing enough for everyone to know. Not everyone who had cookies at the time, there just wasn't, there wasn't a lot of the fire ass cookies.
Off.
Yeah.
Getting knocked off.
Now it's getting to the point where it's getting knocked off.
Shittier grown stuff is getting called cookies now.
And it's ruining the good shit.
It's ruining the good shit. So
drowns out the name.
My homie was like, we got to change the name. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, this seer fucking, thinking on his terms. He's like, we got to change the name. And I'm like, what do you mean change the name? And he's like, animal cookies. He's like, just our shit that comes out of our camp is animal cookies. And I'm like, yep. Like, yeah, that's cool. That's a great solution for this problem. Like, what are we going to do to combat these prices plummeting? And our shit is way better than all these other cookie packs. So yeah, that was it. After that, it was just animal cookies. And that was like right at the beginning of Instagram too.
Knowledge drop.
Yeah.
So when people hunt down the animal cookies cut, that's the original cookies cut that came straight from through Jigga's crew.
Platinum cookies. Yes.
That's the real platinum cookies cut. And it's a rename because it was from a certain crew.
It's a rename based on,
the market
that if it was
for cookies.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite cuts of cookies.
Animal.
Oh,
yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah, I do.
But I also have a platinum cookies cut. Like I'm saying, like you just laid down so much knowledge for people, man. That's amazing to know.
And a lot of people, like, me and Sear bumped heads when Instagram came out. We're all doing our thing and pumping the brand. We're not even really knowing what we're doing. We're kind of just, like some graffiti shit, getting our tags up, repping our crew. Like that's what we're doing with the rooms, the packs, like that's it. Everyone's got their own crew. Everyone's got their own room. Yeah. Look at these packs, like it was like a competition. So, I found out that Sear was saying that he created animal cookies. And behind closed doors, I had I told him, like, what? Why? Like, why? Like, we don't need to have a story about this. Like, this is the facts. Like, this is it. The fire speaks for itself. You don't have to have no hype behind it, no nothing. And at one of the cups, Jig actually came over and talked to Sear. And I thought everything got squashed. Like, I thought, like, Drew was going to come out and be like, this is what it is, blah, blah, blah. It didn't. It just caused hella riff. And like, I just told him, I was like, hey, dude, I'm not cool. I'm not cool with that. Like, bro, I'm tired of like this whole little secret thing. Like, bro, it's not what I'm trying to do. So we bumped heads and went our different way. But yeah, when I found out that he was taking credit for this strain, it's not like, it's just not anything else. Like, there's no reason for that.
It's hard enough to grow really good weed and just be known for that. And that transparency is key. I see what you're coming from with that. That's really,
but it also put me in a weird spot because now that we're online and we're building relationships within the community, like, because you're trying to control that, like, that's mine. That's not real. That's not real. This is mine. I did this, but I know that you didn't do that. Like, it's like now it's like almost to where I feel weird if I want to, keep in mind, cookies is everywhere. If I want to give my homie the animal cut, like now you feel weird that I'm giving him that cut because now this is yours. And I'm like, yeah, but I gave you that. Like, because you tried to make it yours, you can't be upset with what I'm doing with the same cut, like that. And that goes back to what you said a second ago. Should they grow up? No, dude, like you can't have something. It's like, dude, you're going to have kids. Like literally you're going to have kids with your girl and you're going to love them so much. And you think that's the greatest creation ever. You should, after you have kids. Imagine not letting them out of the house ever and letting the world experience it and be like, no, they're mine. Like, well, that's so weird. Over a plant or a kid or a cat or a dog or anything. Like, no, this is all for me. Like, wow, that's just weird. I don't play that shit. So yeah, when it gets to that point, it's like, man, I don't know. You go ahead and do your thing. I'm going to do this. I'm never going to lie for anyone. I didn't lie for my homie when he was alive. You know, we had a fallout online. I'm not going to,
You've had some fallouts with some other people I know, and I know you really well. And I like how straightforward you are, man. You always stand by it.
I want to be held to the same standards. I might be a dickhead, but I need that's my way. That's how I learn. You know, I know that not everyone is, you know, I'm going to turn off a lot of people. I know that, but like, you got to go through the piles of shit to find the good ones, you know, like
the real ones.
Yeah,
see it.
That's yeah.
But we do need to give a shout out to somebody, man. And he keeps coming up, and that's Jigga. He came up again. And I mean, what an originator, what someone that, like you said, the sensei, man. We're from the East Coast. He is the sensei. He came up in your story and he just sounds like what a prolific guy. He's coming to you and he's already got the next thing he's working on in his right hand. Is he showing you the stuff that you want to see? You know what I mean? He was literally working.
Yeah.
You would try to get around him back then.
Yeah, no. When I started kicking it with Jigga, like I was like, yeah, this dude's the truth. Like, I want to learn. This guy's breeding fucking, you know, whether it started as accidental shit or not, he's figuring it out. And I want to fucking learn from this dude. And the first round was dope. You know, he'd come over and, you know, his end of the bargain, come over once a week. You know, hey, do this. Hey, clean the bottoms up. Do that. Fucking, you know, like that was a deal. Teach me how to grow dank and I'll give you a light. Second round wasn't like that. You know, me and him end up falling out on some like, you know, never holding up his end of the deal and me like, bro, I'm not going to pay you for you not doing what you're supposed to do. I'm not going to give you shit if you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Perspectives.
Like, you know, there's no contracts. It's just homies on some like, hey, I'll do this and you do that. And I'm like, okay, well, when you don't do what you said, I'm not going to do it. That's the end. The deal's off, right? That's not how it is. So,
and then from his perspective, he's thinking like, well, then you take over second round and I can back up some or who knows, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's always
it's always like two sides to every story.
The movie, you know, The Duel.
You can't make everybody happy, like especially in this weed shit, dude.
Those are two true statements.
In this weed shit, bro, is something else.
But you used to go over to his house even and see the next projects he was working on.
I'd see some shit. Yeah, I'd see his shit. Like, I'll never forget. Like, he had beds in the 12, you know, like 12-inch fucking slabs of the wood. You know, you just build a bed out of it. He had like fucking windows cut out with like the plexiglass. You could like see the roots and the fucking shit. And I was just like, well, this guy's extra, like for real, dude.
Plexiglass to see the roots through the.
Yeah, he's bougie. Jigga. Sensei. For real, he was on some other shit.
Amazing.
No, I had nothing but love and respect for guys who love the plant like that. You know what I mean? Like when I honestly, no bullshit, like when I think of cookies, when I think of like that, the goat to me, bro, that's the homie Flux, dude. That guy's cookies to me.
Flux capacitor.
Yeah, bro. As any of those, anybody that knows, dude. That guy is like the weed nerd of all weed nerds, bro, since we've been kids. He used to pull up. He's the first guy that I ever seen with jars. He'd have his weed in a jar. He'd have a scale on him.
What strains he used to bring around?
Just a bunch of just different shit, dude.
That he was working on.
He used to be on Hate Street when we were kids. Like,
and he linked up with part of Cookie's crew. And then
he was tight with all those dudes. He used to be around. They were doing
I followed
their
him
thing.
from afar, but I just know him as Flux Capacitor and part of Cookie's crew. And his pictures were like, holy hell.
That dude is like weed nerd on another level. To me. So when you get someone like Jigga and him, and Kenny, who's also like
powers up
the personality in that group, and then you got Burner, it's like, that's an all-star team right there, So yeah, it's like, dude, it's dope, dude. She changed the game, for at the end of the day, like, it's fucked up that a lot of people bump heads over genetics or fallout or this or that. It's like, dude, if you just look at that creation, whether it was an accidental or not, whether who did this or not, whether who gives a fuck, whatever happened in that accidental situation, how many people fed their families off of Girl Scout cookies?
The whole country. The whole country.
Shout out to Jigga, shout out to Flux,
if not the whole world.
Shout out, yeah, that's it.
The whole world, probably. Sorry,
That's
AKA the whole world.
Yeah. So that's hella dope. Like
still one of the most badass strains ever. Still one of the most badass strains ever. I mean, so different.
It's weird. Like prior to cookies, it was OG.
Really?
Just OG.
Where do you think it's going next? The sure banger type of stuff?
I mean, yeah, but as good as that is, like that, because there's sure, because there's gelato, there's a lot of these kind of terps. That's not a game changer. Now it could be batch, like, hey, that batch is shitting on that batch of that. Like timing, that could be the best. I think that's, a contender.
Say what you were saying earlier, if you don't mind saying that it's not no longer any strains that are.
Yeah. Like Doja said, I think it might have been on your guys' podcast, but I heard Doja say like, he was like, I don't have favorite strains anymore. I have favorite batches. And I was like, bro, I couldn't agree more. Like that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
So like, as far as a game changer, I don't think it's that, but I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know. I'm waiting for that game changer because, prior to cookies, it was OG. Then cookies came around. I was just like done with OG. Now I'm like, I'll bring the OG back.
We need to bring Tree Kastle into the rec market. Yeah. I would love to. I know the Bay Area would love to see that, bro.
Yeah. Dude's fucking rough up here. You guys know, dude's California living ain't no fucking joke. It's funny, like people that come here, like you guys came here, right?
Yeah.
Come from Florida, come here to make it. Dude, shit'll eat you up, dude.
Came out here to mine gold.
It's hard to get shit going, right?
Like we thought it was a green rush, man.
Yeah. Right.
We ran our numbers and we didn't hit that for light, and nothing really worked out like that.
Well, because this is the thing, Str8, and you might know this now too.
We had
going from houses to warehouses. We're like restarting, learning how to grow again. You're like, I got 3 to 4 years. Even as an advanced person, you almost have to relearn. Like, okay, these rooms, these warehouses is so different from banging houses.
Yeah,
and so. Yeah, you start to relearn everything all over again. And you know,
the little twist is it's in downtown LA.
South Central.
Yeah.
Here we go, boys. Yeah, you know.
So
stay low
what's
key
that
down
red flower mean?
Huh?
Yeah. What's that red flower all about? Exactly.
Nothing. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude, fucking I thought that when I first rocked with LEDs a couple rounds ago. Like watching plants, like having to like switch shit up so much from, what I've learned to one of the biggest things, dude, when I tell people like their humidity's too low and they just can't believe, they're like 70%, no way. Like I'll get PM. I know that's how we were programmed as youngsters when we started growing. High humidity means PM. Nah, dude, doesn't.
It's the swing.
It's no spikes.
Yep.
You can't have no fucking spikes.
Yep. You can go low humidity, but also go have your VPD in range, just like you were talking.
Yes.
It's funny because I mentioned it a couple podcasts and I love that you brought it up. You're like, just like you mentioned, but it is true because it's the one thing you can control easily that most growers do not have in control.
Yeah.
Even large corporate spots with all the money. No, we're going to do 60 humidifiers. Okay, add 8. No, 6 will be fine. No, do 8.
Yeah.
Do 8. And that's a lesson I learned firsthand, and I love that you talk about it all the time as well, man.
Dude, it's crazy, dude. Like, I remember, I think you were talking about it too. Like, this room just runs hot. So I just run it with a higher humidity. Like, that's how it's not going to be what you want it to be in the perfect environment, but you do have control over it being total shit. Which most of these rooms are turning out to total shit because they're just, it's a little shit like that, dude. I swear, when I learned about VPD, and I told you I wasn't even growing at the time. I think I had a veg room, I was just pumping clones. But
Still VPD.
Yeah, huge. So just fucking learning VPD. That was like a huge game changer. Like, wow, this is like everything that we've been missing.
6-finger leaves. You're getting growth you've never seen before. You're like coming in the night extending. You're like, that was an inch smaller the night before.
Yes. Never seen them grow. Plants grow like that.
And then you start thinking, well, what is the rainforest? Is it cold there?
There you go. There you go.
Is it dry there?
Yeah.
And you start to, put it together.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you said that was wrong.
We were taught that. I had OGs around me saying the perfect environment is 73 to 74 at 50 to 55% humidity, and it never changes. Well, okay, yeah, you're in range for one VPD, but that is not optimal.
No.
And that's why these guys building these huge grows, and they're saying, we're just going to run it all the same, or we're going to have a perpetual room, and every round is going to be different. How is that? We start with week 1 and we're at 82 to 84 degrees and 70% humidity. When we finish, we're at 45 to 40% humidity, and we're at, let's give it a range, right? We're at 68 to 72 degrees. And I mean, let's get some color. Like you're doing this range, but at the same time, you're staying in that VPD like you're talking. And that we're going to talk about that on the Grow Show coming out. And we're going to dive into that. And we're going to show it firsthand.
It's hell important, dude. And
you show it firsthand on your story.
The amount of people that I talk to about that simple thing, like, hey, higher humidity. And they're just like, no way. Like, I promise you, dude, like that's what it is.
Investors.
Huh?
Some homies out of the old school, they know that trick to get it to veg faster so you can get, the cycle going quicker. The plants just go crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like,
and he would be like, man, then that's not how you
tell
do
them
it.
what they used to tell you. Tell them what the old school dudes.
They would tell me to open the door.
So they would run in garages, right? And so the old school homies in Florida, the old school, they say at night, you open that door up, and you air it out, then you close that.
They had
thing.
a bunch of like tricks and
I'm looking at him, I'm
recipes
like,
and things.
No,
I'd be like,
open the door with plants inside.
Yeah,
like control.
Yeah. But for real, their shit would veg crazy, and yours would be a lot slower.
It's funny, like, I mean, we're talking about science, right? Fucking hate science. I don't understand that shit. But when you get into this weed shit and you really want to learn, like, you realize that it's really just like common sense.
Oh,
really? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a super weed guy. Like, it just comes natural to me, but it's common sense, dude. Like,
talk to him about that a little bit.
You have,
We talk all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, dude. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to, like, if you're around this shit every day and you're not learning it, like, dude, you don't know who your pet is. Like, dude, I'm not even a cat guy. My roommate has cats. I'm like, turned into this cat guy. His cats love me more than they love him. It's like, you just learn these creatures, dude. We're all just creatures, bro. And I'm here like creature watching. That's what I do. I feel like it makes me a better creature if I pay attention to all the creatures around me. So I'm learning plants like it's like I said, common sense. You're going to show up half-assed, like, dude, you're not going to put in the work. You're not going to feed it on time. You're not going to pay attention to why it's fucking stressing out. Like, yeah, dude, common sense. That's it.
Man.
That VPD though, like that though was like when I understood what it's doing, I'm like, of course. I always say you got a 12-12. It's fucking hella too warm. It's 55% and 84 degrees when the light's off, and then it's fucking 68 degrees and 68% with the lights off every 12 hours.
Yeah.
Those plants are going into shock every fucking 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
They're going into shock. Like, dude, you're never going to pull a good run.
Little beat up buds.
If you're lucky, if it's just that, you get PM, like, that's just it, dude. Little tiny shit. And then once you figure that out, you're like, God, that common sense would have said, like, duh. They're
plants are like people.
Dude.
We always, right? They're like people, the whole cycle.
Those are babies,
common
right?
sense isn't so common.
Ooh.
That's really what.
Hey.
It's
I
really
guess-
not. For
Well,
real.
here's the thing. I think that, like, when I go into the room, when I pop some clones in, I expect to win. Right? Anything I do, I expect, because I know what it takes to win. I expect it. Now, there's been hella times I cut corners, knowing damn well I shouldn't cut corners. My number one rule: don't do it right the first time. For whatever reason, make excuses. Oh, I can't really afford to do this upgrade. We're just gonna squeeze by. It'll be okay. Nah, dude. Like, it's unacceptable. Like, when you go into it expecting to win and then you don't win because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, like, dude, that's the absolute most dumbest shit ever. So it's like, bro, I expect to win. I just popped some kids in the other day. I expect to win. Like, this is gonna be a flawless round. That's what I expect.
What are you running?
OG, we'll bring OG back, man. Make
shit. What? You got that?
some,
What
some
cut?
Gary P. I think I'm gonna run some the homie Low Key. Try to get some of his shit going.
Shout out,
You
bro,
already
low
know.
key.
Come on, man.
CB Tricks.
Yep.
I ran into the homie yesterday
butter.
at the end of the show, and I was like, "What's going on, man?"
Yeah.
Not many people know.
He
He's
scared
like,
the
"Oh,
shit out of him. Jumped up at him.
Got those last 2 packs too. Appreciate you, big dog. You
That's
already
the
know.
homie, dude. Hey,
Yo,
that
he's
guy's the
low
truth.
key for real. My man,
He's
my
ahead
man,
of his time.
He's a real deal.
He is.
Yeah.
I met him through some Instagram shit. Like, dude, Mike, I love you, dude. You already know.
Real one.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yeah, man.
Real deal.
Is there anything
Hell
you
yeah.
want to leave us with, man? A story or something that we need to know about the cannabis history in the Bay? Is there something you got to pass on that people need to know?
I would say that right now it's not about the dank. It's just not, like, to me. And, you know, some people are like, oh, well, it's because he's not really in it like he wants to be. Like, nah, dude, if I wanted to be in this game, if I wanted to be on the rec market, if I wanted a job in one of these fucking spots, dude, I would have it. But, you know, the interviews where people reach out, I was telling them, I was like, dude, people reach out. I never apply for a job. People reach out and be like, hey, we got to grow. We got this. Come check us out. Let's, you know, come in for an interview. I go in for the interview and I leave. And, like, I'm not like, hey, what's up, man? I'm really excited. Like, trying to follow up on it. Like, they think I'm there being interviewed if I'm good enough for this job. And I'm really there interviewing them if they're good enough for me to fucking work for. Like, that's what it is in this. That's where this industry is at. Is like, if I go into this, any kind of situation thinking someone has the same amount of passion as I do, yeah, it's nice when you meet, you know, like-minded individuals. But in this industry, bro, it's not about the dank. It's not about passion. It's the greed rush. Like my homie's fucking Instagram page. Greed rush. It's not the green rush. Like, but it's not about the dank anymore. So we're trying to just, you know, bring the dank back. Like, dude, I always said, like, dude, just come out, like, and just call weed dank.
It's going to take us
Like,
coming together and making each other fair deals. Once one of us gets in the door, open the door for the others.
there you go.
I know that's a hard thing, though. That's a big thing to ask.
Or just like, you know, the few people that really stand on dank. Like, bro, that's it. Like, you know, there's a few that are really just about some dank. Like, they're just in it because they love the fucking weed. It's not because they want to do any other, like, anything else is a bonus. You know, like, I might not be in the market, or I might not have tree castle like I used to, or, you know, do shit like that. But, like, the fact I'm still here, like, dude, all this shit's a bonus. Dude, this is a bonus right here. For real, dude. Right
Yeah, you
now,
already
like,
know.
This shit, like,
You already know, man.
We feel the same way.
All from
We
fucking,
do.
you know, meeting some kids one day and fucking, you know, smoking a joint and then fading on sacks and then gotta buy an ounce so I could sell this, so I could make some money to buy food, to, like, you know, this shit growing and putting lights up in 4x4 spaces. Like, dude, it's all from some weed shit. Like, how many of your relationships are from weed?
All
Most.
of them. All mine.
All. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
My man's die hard. You already know.
It's like, you don't smoke weed? I can't fuck with you.
Nah, I don't fuck with you.
No.
Can't fuck with you.
I mean, I think maybe my mom, That'd be the only person, but even she will eat an edible and shit once in a while. So
Yeah.
But yeah,
she gets a pass.
That's the only person in my life, in my whole life. My grandma even will eat an edible. So yeah, no, nobody.
Straight up.
Just dude, it's just you know.
But shout out Cookie Monster. Shout out
Rest in
Jigga.
peace, man.
Yeah. Shout out Champelli. I mean, legends. And it's crazy because you weave. Browski.
Dude, there's a lot of guys, bro. Like, you know, there's a lot of guys that aren't on Instagram that have like the real stories. You know, like
straight up. You got an alley-oop view.
Yeah,
do some layups.
Yeah, for real. Definitely some stories that need to be said, you know, like, you know, we just spilled into a little bit of it. Like, dude, just the weed in the Bay Area is like I said, dude, we're spoiled as fuck up here. Like, you know, I'm not going to go into like, where's the best weed in the world? Like, no, you can't do that. Like, if, you know,
it's in the home grower.
If I go out to fucking Florida, well, I'm going to grow the best weed in Florida.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I'm trying to do. You know, not saying that it executes, but that's what I'm trying to do.
That's your intention.
I want to compete with the best weed in Florida. You know, so I can't say that like, you know, Cali has the best weed, but like just growing up here, like, dude, just spoiled.
Major advantage.
Fucking weed. So when I start seeing the game do what it's doing with, you know, the marketing, you know, the marketing thing, which Sear was way ahead of his time, dude. Like, you know,
R.I.P. Sear.
Dude, he was so ahead of his time. Like the shit that he was doing, like, yeah, he was saying that was his, just like a lot of these brands are saying these strains are theirs, you know, and a lot of them are selling it on the under, saying don't sell it to no one. And then those guys are selling it online. Like all that shit that goes on, like there's something to be said about like when you're really trying to pump a brand, kind of like what Runts did. I thought what they were genius for was like, they didn't care that people were bootlegging their bags. They didn't care at all. That was genius. Everyone's trying to control the bags, right? That's bootleg. You didn't get it from me. That they let it run. I never saw Runts on their thing be like, this page is fake. Care about that.
And they became one of the largest brands in the whole world.
Run with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that type of shit. You know, that's
what I say. If you ain't getting knocked, you're not making enough noise.
Yeah. Yes.
Straight up.
Yeah. Straight up. You know, and the animal cookie logo of Sears, like, dude, that was ahead of his time. You know, like that was originally an actual collab with Burn. So where it says cookies on the sweater, it used to be the cookies font. That was a collab. That was dropped at, I want to say Richmond 2013.
Who's got that hoodie?
Dude, that drop was fucking epic, dude. That was let me see, that was Dab Pipe, me and my homie Alfie, I was telling you about. He came out with it was almost the first electric dab nail. It was like after Highly Educated's e-nail. He came out with it. We had it out for like a little bit, called the Dab Pipe, but we had a booth, and Sear had just had the animal cookies design made, you know, which was like the first design that he was like putting on bags, like a logo, a design. He made a logo. That was 2013, I think. Yeah, I think 2013.
All made possible by
specific
Jigga.
Logo, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then through Sears, homie, Glide was tied with Burn. Got Burn to do a booth with us. So we did the animal cookies release. Burn had a booth. You know, we shared the booth with Burn. That was when like he's just doing the plain shirts that just said cookies across the front, you know, like, yeah, that animal cookie shirt was like the first real cookies design, actually.
So you saw Burner part of that crew just in the beginning. Like you saw that crew basically form.
Yeah.
Wow. Real neat, man.
That cup was dope. Like that cup was dope. That was when like Sherb was just coming out. Remember Strabinsky came by. Jigga was there. That was that cup where I said I thought we had all squashed, you know, I thought we had squashed all the bullshit away. But yeah, dude, that was a dope ass cup. Just
history.
Shit like that.
Some serious history.
What was that? 2013? Which cup?
In Richmond. I think it was 2013. Yeah.
In Richmond.
Yeah, Richmond, Virginia?
Nah, out here.
Out here. Okay.
Yeah. is Richmond, California, right? Kind of near
Or
Oakland.
some type of High Times cup, I'm guessing, back then.
Yeah.
13. That had to be High
That's
Times.
all I was
It was
wondering.
High Times.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then you got so Jigga walks up and he sees his cookies he knows, but it's named something different.
Well, he already knew.
Okay.
He knew that I got the cut. He knew that I got the cut from D, and I wasn't supposed to get the cut. And I told Jigga, I was like, hey, dude, you know where I fucked up? I was like, I took something from him and I justified it because me and him had something going on, but really that was yours. And I guess it was because everyone had it and was doing their own thing on the under. I was just like, what? Like,
Yeah.
But I told Jigga that, like, straight up, like that's where I fucked up. Do I regret it? No, because a fucking hell of people ate off that.
But you were honest about it, and that's what your page is about.
Scapegoat. When I was like, yeah, I got it. And you know what it was that it was actually at that cup. I told him that, and he was like, well, then why were you selling cuts of it? And I was like, huh? He was like, why were you selling cuts of it? I was like, I never sold one cut of it. I never did. I swear on everything, I never did. I knew how special it was. I knew. And also, like I said, when we were trying to get the OG cut, no one was sharing that shit with us. So now there's a game changer, and, my crew has hands in it, and, I was just keeping it to myself.
You're old school. All the old school guys lock strains down.
Yeah.
I don't know any old school guys that just let shit out.
It wasn't that I was locking it down. It was like, I got it and I want my guys to have it, but I don't want to I don't want to just be giving it out to everybody. At least in the San Francisco weed world, nah, that's like I said, genetics start getting weird. When it goes from like a competition, like a friendly thing, like, oh, you grow fire, this and that, versus you won't share what you got, but you want me to share what I got. Like that's when it gets weird, dude.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's the competitor in me. Like, I'm just like, nah, you ain't gonna run laps around me.
Well, that's why we follow Str8 Flame. I mean, check him out. Str8 Flame on Instagram.
Yeah, you already know, man.
Heavy.
For real. At Str8 Flame, STR, the number 8, and then Flame on IG. And shit, man, we're wrapping up. First smoke of the day. We're out here, Emerald Cup Weekend 2021. Big shit popping, episode 32.
I wish I could have got out to the cup with you guys too.
Hey,
All right, you're
Next
here
year,
now.
Good
And we're
shit.
smoking some
Keep it
sure
popping.
banger.
For sure.
you already know,
Yeah,
man.
enjoy that, dude.
Straight Flame.
Yes,
Tree
sir.
Castle,
Shit,
Str8
shit.
Flame.
Right on.
Awesome to have you, bro.
Yes, sir.
First smoke of the day, 32.
You already know. Peace.
White ashes.
Yo, what's up, First Smoke family? Just want to take a few seconds to shout out some special partners of the show. Make sure you guys go check out Grow Generation, the largest hydroponic retailer in the nation, over 60 retail stores, growgeneration.com. They also carry some awesome products there. Blackleaf, tell them a little bit about our next sponsor, Power SI.
This is what I use in my garden. This is what the best growers in the country are using. This is what the best growers in the world are using.
For more information on our partners, click in the description below. We're going to include all the links, all the information, everything you guys need to know to get down with any of these companies. Shout out to Grow Generation, Power SI. We appreciate you guys. First Smoke family forever.
Hey, what up? It's Blackleaf. I'm here to talk about one of the sponsors for First Smoke of the Day podcast, AthenaProducts.com, Athena Nutrients. If you want to see some of the premier growers in the country who rock Athena products, check out Athena.ag on Instagram, and you can see everybody who rocks with Athena. First Smoke of the Day podcast, Athena Plant Nutrients.
Yo, Jungle Boys has been playing with fire since 2006. Pioneer cultivators based out of Los Angeles. You can find their product at TLC Collective in LA. For more info, go to jungleboys.com and follow at Jungle Boys on all platforms. Welcome to the jungle.